Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 1st, 2019 Michigan City Port Authority Board of Directors meeting. First order of the agenda is approval or correction of last meeting's minutes.
I had the opportunity to read through the minutes, accepted them, and I made a motion to accept them.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
And we have a second after this year. Hearing no opposition, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as produced, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Hayes, good to see you.
Good afternoon.
Let's start it.
Hello.
Minutes are just approved. Comments from the public. We have Mr. Cooper from the Yacht Club.
Yes.
Today he's asked to have some time with us. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to pass out. I sent this by email earlier today. I don't know if everyone received it or not.
Yes.
I need a copy. I'd like to, and sure, I got mine. I'll print mine off.
Thank you.
So I know you had sent this earlier and had asked us nicely if we could take a look at it ahead of time.
Well, I thought that would
I think
be,
most of us probably have, but go ahead.
I think that's appropriate to do rather than just drop something in on board. And it's that time of year anyway that I like to speak up and give a short synopsis on how our sailing program is going, how our training programs are going. So I penned this morning because we've had some really nice developments in our sailing school and our sailing program. And a lot of that I like is because of the Port Authority Board, the support that the Port Authority, the employees, and everyone has given our program throughout the years. The educational goals that we have had for providing several aspects of training, including safety, seamanship, and boat handling. We are currently doing this, of course, through our sailing classes. We are looking to do off-season educational programs as well. We had a couple of those this spring for jet ski training. I'm off script here. And just plain safety courses over at the Yacht Club. That's kind of a combination of the Yacht Club and the sailing school. A lot of this will last some of these children for decades in the way of team building, spirit, and a lot of development. One of the young students from our first session was on a large boat last Friday. We call that Big Boat Day. And one of our senior skippers out there, Lunoy, if you know who that is, started to challenge one of these 10-year-olds, I believe. And he says, what happens when you want to have, because you're on a big boat now, what happens when you want to stow a boat? What do you do? And boom, they were able to answer, go into the wind. And he thought, well, I'm not going to quit there. What's that mean? It means we put it in the irons. Well, there's a little accent on irons, but he was rather impressed that some of the children are learning things beyond just having a great time at summer camp. Today we began our second of 4 two-week sessions of our school. And lo and behold, we had 17 students this morning and 18 students this afternoon, a total of 35. In addition to that, we have a Tuesday night racing for some of the more advanced kids, and they can sign up for that. And I think we have 6 in that. And we're currently under our first session of adult training, and we have 10 students in that. I might mention on a side note that I know of 4 of those, one couple plus 2 others, that are are taking the class, hopefully to learn how to sail so they can buy a sailboat, and we want them in our marina here. We're very pleased with the way the program is going so far anyway. 2018 was some of the different things in our tax laws and so forth. The sailing school filed and became its own 501c3, whereas the yacht club is also a nonprofit, but it's a 501c7. The difference in that is that the sailing school can accept federal tax deductible gifts. With that, unfortunately, one of our longtime sailors lost his life, but before he did that, he bought a J24 boat, a 24-foot boat last year that's great for training. It's small enough to be able to maneuver, still with the tiller, and he donated that boat, sails, everything to our sailing program. We're very pleased with that. Some of our equipment over the years has grown tired, and we need upgrades in our sails. We need upgrades in some of our boats. Last year we were able to acquire 3 Capri, which is a Catalina model, 14-foot boats. They're somewhat ideal to teach adults and some of our more senior students. And we've begun to upgrade much of our equipment. With the donation of the J24, it gives us both opportunities and challenges. Opportunities to train additional people, allow them to develop on a little bit bigger boat, more skills, where they feel more comfortable out there. It also comes with the idea that it is a boat that we cannot launch on a daily basis from our crane over here, and it requires a slip if we are going to use it in our program. We have brought it up. It's a fine boat. It's got its nicks and dings, so we're not going to hurt it too bad. But it's a very good pedigree boat, and the boat has a really strong history it's about 25 years old, and it has won some of the placed well in some of the nationals over the years. We're proud to have it. With all of that, and I'd entertain any questions, but my thought was to approach the board knowing that I believe that there's some vacant slips in the marina, and if those slips are vacant, if we could have the Port Authority possibly favorably upon allowing us to use one of those slips for that J24 throughout the season. I might add, if you need that slip for a superboat race or something like that, where you felt that would be an additional income, we might move it up the creek, or we might do something for that weekend, because we appreciate everything you do, and we also want to be a good neighbor. And it would be my request that you entertain your thoughts on potentially allowing the training program to use one of the empty slips until the training season is over.
Mike, we appreciate your comments. I'm going to open it up for questions for the board now.
Okay, thank you.
Sam, go ahead.
Mr. Cooper, what did you say the size of the boat was?
It's a 24-foot. 24-foot, and I believe the beam on it is about 8 foot. It's trailerable down a highway, so it can't be much. It can't be over 8'6". I think it's actually an 8 foot. It's one of the very popular boats that was made by the company is actually called J-Boats.
Thank you.
Mrs. Mayor?
First, I want to compliment you on this program. I mean, it's a great program, and being a city that's on the lakefront, it's definitely something we want to continue. My question is, I noticed you did say a lot of students and it's picked up. If you don't mind me asking, where are you drawing your students from? What schools or what areas? Just out of curiosity.
We've gone to, I chatted earlier in the season to get into some of the middle schools and so forth, and we've made announcements with some of the counselors. We have had donations into our school to allow for scholarships for, I can't answer whether it's 2 or 3 this year, but for those in need. On our website, we publicize this also, and simply ask that those that might be interested write something simple and why they would like to go, what they hope to get out of it, and so forth. And we've been very liberal with, we started the scholarship program, I think 3 years ago, and it's been a success.
Yes, so I would love to see that we are pulling more of the local students. I mean, the students that are actually living in Michigan City or right in the surrounding areas, because I think that's very important. I would like to, to see that the outreach pulls them in and shows them that, this is something that you can get into as far as new activities, that you're more than welcome. So, that's really why I bring that up.
We attempt to do that. Obviously, we are, the Port Authority is the Port Authority on the marina, and we draw a lot of folks that are already somewhat have an interest in boating here, and it helps keep the people that are here. Plus, we always have local students. Be they from, I'm sorry, I'm from South Bend, so I don't know the names of the schools.
Oh, that's fine, that's fine.
But,
I mean, you guys are doing a great job. I mean, I do believe that helps sell the Port Authority, the marina, and slips and everything, so that's great. I just, if there is a way to pull more young people in, that's really what I'm looking at, more young people to get them excited about something that they
be more than happy to discuss your ideas, so we could include that.
I think Mike gets the point that, in the future, or even now, if you can, to advertise some more, get a little more open.
Or get into the schools more, the local schools here.
Well, we've submitted news releases to the News Dispatch, to the Northwest Indiana Times, to the Beecher.
Yeah, it's probably more
matter of fact, the Northwest Indiana Times has its front page this week.
Okay.
Advertising what we do. And yes, we do draw folks from Beverly Shores or Long Beach. We have a lot of grandchildren of folks that are around.
Right.
Grandchildren of people that have boats in our marina. The kids stay on their boats and go to school. And we are also trying our best to integrate more.
Okay. I'd like to move on to see if there are any more questions from anybody.
If not any question, I'm just going to make a comment. Because yesterday, Mr. Cooper and myself were sitting down around the 400 dock, just talking, and over on the 500 dock, the guy was working on his sailboat, doing something with the sails up and down and the strings and all that, and I had really no idea. I didn't know really what they were, what they're called, and I kept asking him.
Even a state potter like me, those are lives.
But I was asking Mr. Cooper, and he started explaining to me and telling me different things on the sailboat, which I didn't know, and I'm sure he talked about the 10-year-old probably would have, so I could make the comment that I'm not smarter than a 10-year-old.
Our school starts at age 8 or At least 7 3/4. Some of these kids that have had brothers and sisters are anxious to get in and be involved.
Mr. Haynes, I think you had your hand up.
Yes. Is there room in the arena for assistance for this program?
We could find space. Yeah.
I had a comment. You said for the rest of the season. Does that mean the rest of the voting season, or do you just have a
The
same?
rest of the training season.
Okay, which is
I need-
approximately how long?
Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
The thought that we have an overflow of applicants for the senior sale program, we are going at our next board meeting, we're going to discuss trying to put in an additional adult program yet this year. Because we've got folks in the marina that really would like to, I don't know how to be politically correct, but there's husbands that would like to learn how to sail without their wives telling them how. I'm yelling at them. Or vice versa.
I understand you said earlier that you would work with the staff on major functions that we have on the lakefront to move the boat as needed.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Unless we have some more questions, I'll make one more last comment. I'm thinking this is a good idea to allow Mr. Cooper and his organization to have a slip for the rest of the season. He's going to work with the staff to take care of this. I don't see any real reason to oppose a move like that, and as such, I would suggest that the board thinks this is a good idea, and we have a motion to let them have a slip.
I make a motion, we allow them to doctor boat in the marina.
We have a motion to help the Yacht Club sailing program out. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Any more questions concerning this motion at all? Any more questions? Hearing none, let's take a vote. All those in favor of accepting this motion to give the sailing program a slip in the marina for the rest of the season, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. You're on.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for all the good work you do.
We hope to keep it up
Amen.
and get more slip holders for the marina.
All right, moving on. Mr. Frame, Harbor Master report.
All right. Not this past weekend, but a week ago, we had a Hobie Camp race down off the beach out here. It seemed to go really well. It was a regional event. I'm not sure the size of their region, but it's several states around Lake Michigan here. They had 35 race boats show up. They raced Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They were also being evaluated by the national organization because they had applied to hold a national Hobie Cat race in 2020 here. So talking to the organizers after last weekend, they felt 90% sure that they would be awarded the national race for 2020, which would be in September. And the regionals plan to be here again next June, probably about the same weekend. So they seemed really happy. I did speak to a fellow from Wisconsin that had previously been in New Buffalo, and some of the Wisconsin people didn't make the trip this year because it was a new venue and they didn't know what to expect. And he was quite impressed and figured next year he'd have more of his friends come down. So I think the Hobie Cat race went pretty well. They set up their course every day, and it varies with the way the wind is. And I don't think they had near the spectators, but there were some interested people watching out there, and they were all very colorful. So I think it went pretty well. This Thursday, we have fireworks in the evening, so we'll assist Melrose Pyrotechnics in taking the launch tubes out Thursday morning, and we'll assist taking them back in Thursday after the fireworks. Everything else here seems pretty normal for summer, so unless anybody has any questions, I'll let it go at that for now.
Sam?
Tim, I have just a few questions regarding the parking lot.
Okay.
this before, but do you know of any plans for the redevelopment commission to reconfigure the topography in the unfinished property over there?
Those are where?
To the east side, you mean? Yeah, some of that will happen as part of their next phase, which I'm not sure when that's exactly going to be at the moment, but that's in the next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you, and as I understand it, the landscaping contract included this year's care.
Right.
Have you inquired as to whether or not you will receive an idea at the end of the season, what that total cost was?
Yeah.
So that you can, apply it to your budget planning next year?
Yeah, we already took care of that. Yep.
Okay. Also, I noticed this evening coming in, much to my surprise, we got a lot of weeds.
Yeah.
So I assume that the landscaper is going to take care of that.
Yep. They're aware of that, and they'll be in to deal with that.
Okay. The master plan. Is there anything that?
No, we have not had a meeting for several months now, as far as the park master plan. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last thing. Freedom Boat Club has had a whole series of open houses here and all up in Michigan.
Right.
Do you have anything to report to the board in terms of how well they're doing and what their season looks like this year
Well,
at Michigan City?
I would say they're doing pretty well. When they first came in here 2 years ago, they had 2 boats. Last year they moved up to 3, and this year they have 4 here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've had a couple of training sessions, and we get a fair number of people coming to the window looking for, asking about Freedom Boat Club. I don't think they're anywhere as near as big as they've become in St. Joe, but they've been in St. Joe a little longer. But in talking to the management of Freedom Boat Club, they seem pretty happy so far.
That's good news.
Yeah.
They're primarily on the one.
They're all on the 100 West, right there.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question for the harbor master? Lisa Blicky, you're up.
On your occupancy report, we rented a 30-foot slip this afternoon. We're getting down on the slip. We had another person came in today looking for a 60-foot slip. We're doing well. And the folks have been bringing off to go up with the fireworks and slips and everything, reservation. And we have hit a point for the boat race where we're not taking reservations anymore. And a lot of that's due to the fact that the new Buffalo boats that all came down here.
That's transient boats for the weekend. We've talked
Yeah,
about.
transient. We're still taking seasonals.
We need more slips. That's, well, there are a lot. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, any question from Ms. Blicky? Sam?
I just have a comment that based on this current report, Washington Park slips are rented at 89%. To my knowledge, that's the highest percentage number we've had in the basin for a long time. So 89% of 606 slips is a good number for us. And also, looking at the available accommodations at Trail Creek, we're 88% up there. I don't remember that number being that high a percentage point before either. So obviously we're having a good year, and obviously the staff has done an awful lot to do with that. I think the board really appreciates that.
Things are filling up. Ms. Blicky,
One
you
more
have a
thing, we've
comment?
got 6 new customers for July already.
There's it's just the first day.
It's just the first day.
New Buffalo area.
Some of them are still coming.
So we're gonna go over 90% for the first time ever then.
A long time.
Okay. Any other comments? Ms. Bullock? All right, moving on. Mr. Garrett is absent for the budget and financial oversight. You know who is number 2 on this? Bruce is number 2. Ms. Palicki, you're on. Can you give us a rundown of the bills we need to be paying?
Okay, you got the card service members, our credit card, and that's for our cable, phone bills, and supplies. Then we had some electrical repairs for $2,210.90. Then security at Trail Creek for $2,646. And the next bill would be for trash for $2,841.73. And the other ones are just for supplies, the wireless telephone, just regular supplies for running the arena.
That's 2 weeks worth. No gas this time.
No, the other next one,
Yeah. I noticed there's
an edge roller,
there's an Edgewater one. What is that for?
for working on the electrical.
Okay.
I think it's part electrical and part $300.
Take a look at the bills to be paid. We have a motion to pay the bills. So moved. We have a motion to accept the bills.
Second.
And we have a second. Questions, please. Any questions on any of the bills? Hearing none, move forward. All those, hearing none, moving forward. All those in favor of accepting the bills as shown, paid, please, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Pay the bills. Mr. Haynes, claims and insurance?
I have nothing to report.
Anything from Mr. Haynes? Mr. Ferguson is here on operations. Tim has talked about most of the things I was going to touch base on, or we'll take a look at later on. Anything new on the lake water level? Tim, anything in the last couple of weeks that you...
No, it's at record levels for June. I don't believe it's technically at a record level for July. The Corps puts out their next weekly update this Friday, so we'll see. At least we've had a couple nice warm days where it hasn't really rained much, so that'll cause some evaporation that may help us out a little bit. But water's plenty high.
All right. Any questions for myself on operations? Moving on, Mr. Messina, Board of Communications, Special Events.
I have talked to quite a few voters, nothing come out of them really negative, nothing really positive. Everybody seems to be que sera, sera. So I don't really have anything, I don't have any knowledge of any special events coming up real soon. I know there are some later on in the future, but as of right now, nothing else.
We're still on board for a doc committee meeting on Saturday. I think that was at the second.
Yeah, the second Saturday, yeah.
Excuse me, that would be around the 10th. All right, anything from Mr. Messina? Thank you, Danny. Mr. Manor is not here for Master Planning, Special Projects, and Park Liaison. I don't have anything to update that we don't already know about in that area. Any questions that I might be able to answer on that? Okay, Mrs. Meir, Advertising Public Relations.
I don't really have anything to report. I just wanted to point out that I noticed that Mr. Terry has begun advertising around the Port Authority here. I don't know if anyone else noticed his signs for the boat tours. So that's a great start seeing that. You know, I think that would really help, you know, spread the word and everything. He has some signs strategically placed here on the property or around the lakefront entrance there. Other than that, nothing else to report.
I've noticed that the tour boat seems to be out more often when I come down than not, which is good for everybody. I saw one day was going out, it looked to be almost full on the top level, and I thought that was good. I'm sure he's having a good time taking people out. Anybody have a question for Mrs. Smith? Okay, attorney's report, Mr. Zach Noon was unavailable for the meeting today. I don't know of anything that was pressing that he hadn't already advised us about, so we'll just pass on that. Continuing down, any new business to come before the board? Any new business, Mr. Messina?
Maybe something I can bring up that was asked about me, maybe if Mr. Frame can help out on this or update us at a later date. But a lot of the roofs along the 400, 500, and 600 gazebos are starting to show a lot of wear. And also the inside, I think in years past we've gone in and actually power washed and stained them or painted the inside of the gazebo. And it looks like they could, all of them, all the way down the line, 400, 500, 600, 800, could use some refreshing, and maybe Mr. Frank can report something to us in the future.
I see the staff writing that down, putting it on their list. Sounds good. Anyone else? No other new business? Okay, old business. I've included a few things just to make sure that we're up to date on anything major that's happening with a few things. ESP, that's electric shop, that's grounding at the ESD. I believe that. Do we have any updates particularly on that we don't already know about, Mr. Frank?
Well, I did receive a quote from Edgewater on moving forward with coming up with a plan and that's related to the power boxes on the 800 dock. I forwarded that to the committee, and so yeah, we're moving on that.
I don't have anything else to update on that also. I don't know if Mr. Banner has something on that. I'm not aware of it. But I know we're making progress on that, which is what we want to do. Anything real particular on the Spring Point?
I did have a discussion with Larson Danielson, and they would be interested in bidding construction of the building, or they could help us design a building. They don't feel that legally they can do both, since they're dealing with public money. He didn't feel that a design-build project would be appropriate for it because of the dollar amount and the amount of involvement. They're currently trying to do a design-build with LaPorte, and apparently it's rather complicated when you're dealing with public money. But he said they'd be more than willing to help us whichever way we'd like to go. Either consult on a drawing that we would already have, or they would be able to provide engineering and bidding, but they wouldn't be able to actually bid on the work, or vice versa. If we had someone else do the design, they could then build. They would be interested in bidding the project for the construction.
All right. When Mr. Manor gets back, I think we'll get together and have a special projects meeting and see what we think is the next good step to look for there. Unless anybody has any questions on that, I'll move on to the other old business, which is any update on the 200 dock redecking idea that we move forward on?
No, Edgewater is working on the drawings for the 200 and the walkway, and I don't have anything anything more current than that yet.
Are we where we want to be on that project at this time?
Yeah. Yep.
Sir, go ahead, Sam.
Tim, you mentioned before that, of course, the $300 was the learning process. We all wanted it to be one, and it worked out well in that regard. And as a result of that, you've discovered some ways that you thought would reduce the contractor cost. I assume that whatever it is that Edgewater comes up with bid specs will include the offer that you're making for assistance.
Correct.
To try to drive the labor costs down.
Yep. Yep.
Good.
We talked about that in committee, I believe. But it's a good point to bring out, because that was all part of why we wanted to do one dock at a time, just to see how it went and any ideas we had to help things along in the next one. I think Tim might have explained to the board, I'll just go a little bit farther now. I think Tim might have explained to the board at one of the meetings recently, one of our board meetings recently, that they had during the final half of the 300 dock, we were able to use
Well, it's just a little work platform.
To help get back and forth, to help the guys that were out there and doing their work, and to ease the labor involved. So we think that really helped them along, and it's a good idea. So things like that, hopefully use in the new contract wherever it is. All right, that's all I have for old business. Anybody else have anything on old business they want to bring up or discuss? Danny?
Maybe just a question, probably for Mr. Frame again. The lights along the pier in the evening hours?
The breakwater or the pier?
The pier.
Okay.
I was walking along the pier. Are those on a timer? Are they different during the week than they are during the weekend?
No, it should all be the same. They should come on at dusk and then shut off. I think it's set at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up, the captain, we talked about our tour boat. The captain of the tour boat contacted me and asked me what the hours were. During the week, he likes bringing people in at dark, and you can really see it. It looks so nice with the lights on. It seemed like the weekend cruises, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, evening cruises, it seems like the lights are off on the last trip in.
Well, we'll check the timer.
If you could, maybe get back to me, or get back to the board, however, and let us know, and I can report back to him.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
on that subject, a couple of years ago, when the park department elected to close the park at 10 o'clock at night, we agreed that it would save a tremendous amount of electricity and money for us to turn the lights out at 10 o'clock at night. Now that's been changed?
Yeah, we moved it back up. We switched to LED lights. The city went with the LED lights that use significantly less electric. And the mayor's office got a lot of pushback from the fishermen that like to be out there later. So we pushed the time back. Yeah.
If the park was closed, how did they get out there?
The entry road is closed, but the exit road is not closed. So they go in through the exit.
That's all.
Good comment, good question. You'll take a look and you advise the military or his people what we're doing. Thank you. Anything else on old business?
To bring up one other thing, I like your idea on your old business of having topics that we've talked about listed here to kind of refresh us prior to a meeting. Just a comment.
Good. We'll leave those ideas on for next time unless I update you with a few others. Thank you. Mr. Cooper, you have anything else for us?
Oh, I think I've said enough tonight.
It was good hearing from you.
Thank you, and thank the board again.
Appreciate your program, like I said earlier. All right, all those in favor of adjourning? Please, or
adjourn at 5:41.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned. Next meeting, July 15th.